content and contextual analysis of selected primary sources. Overview: the complete knowledge of the past through credible and reliable sources is essential to the understanding and learning of the student of their own history. History must be studied carefully, hence it necessitates the application of historical method. Historical method is the process of critically examining and analyzing the record and survival of the past. Gottschalk, 1969. The intent of the application of historical method is to make students competent in their interpretation of facts and critical analysis of historical narrative or account. Content analysis is a systematic evaluation of the primary source via text, painting, caricature, in or speech that in the process student could develop and present an argument based on their understanding of the evidence from their readings. Contextual analysis, on the other hand, considers specifically the time, place, and situation when the primary source was written. The approach is essential to the enhancement of students' analytical and critical thinking skills and their ability to articulate their own views on a specific primary source in this chapter.
First voyage around the world. Whoever has the willpower to undertake a journey across oceans begets the one entity desired. So, the development of Portuguese maritime empire, apparent scientific and technological advancement, European attractions to Asia's wealth and spices, incited Spain to expand for an expedition.
The period of discovery and expansionism began in the 15th century. Henceforth, from Europe came to the east huge vessels loaded with merchandise and men under a command to discover and covet lands in the east. This was an eventuality which enjoyed people and nations in such encounter had far-reaching consequences until 19th century.
The Philippine Island in 1521 has been rediscovered by the Spanish Commission Authority. Ferdinand Magellan, a Portuguese navigator who gained confidence and support from monarchy of Spain. This information on rediscovery which the world is cognizant of is attributable to an Italian chronicler, Antonio Pigafetta.
Antonio Pigafetta, 1491 to 1534, was a Venetian explorer, cartographer, and writer who played a crucial role in the first circumnavigation of the globe led by Ferdinand Magellan. He served as Magellan's chronicler and cartographer, documenting the voyage. The details of the world's first circumnavigation were accurately recorded in his journal. These chronicles serve as a lens through which the voyage and circumnavigation of the world can be apprehended with certainty. It specifically furnished important details on the discovery of the island and people inhabiting the place. These people were to be the Filipinos' great ancestors who lived peacefully and with abundance in the area. The comprehension of the cultural life of these people was made possible through the Chronicle of Pigafetta. The North of the Voyage, which is a translation by Lord Stanley of Adderley, is presented below. However, the necessary and important details of the narrative were taken based on what is useful for the student. In brief, the narrative as it was written commenced with a description of the preparation for the voyage, the captain and his men, the date as to when it left Spain, the time when oceans were crossed like the Atlantic Ocean, Pacific Ocean, and Indian Ocean. In particular, Pigafetta wrote pertaining to the description of the different places he had seen, the people he met there, displaying an interesting culture.
The beginning of Magellan's voyage in 1519. The author explained that he undertook the voyage not only for personal exploration but also to satisfy the curiosity of several influential people who desired to learn about his experiences and method of navigation. Before setting sail, The Captain General implemented strict ordinance to maintain order and prevent the ships from separating during storm, especially given the tension between the Portuguese captain and the Spanish crew. The voyage began from Santolucar on September 20 and reached Tenerife on the 26th of the same month. The crew remained there for 3.5 days to restock supplies. Next excerpt from Pigafetta's account titled The Magellan Expedition's Arrival at a port named Montrose, where they replenished supplies. They then reach an island with a unique fresh water spring. The next day, they land at another uninhabited island for security reasons. A subsequent encounter with the native is described. 9 men approach in a boat after initial caution. A friendly exchange occurred, with the native received food and gifts, and in return offering fish and palm wine. The native indicate they would bring more provision in 4 days, including umay, kuchi or palm fruit, and other goods. The text explained that the palm trees are the source of their bread, wine, and oil. Pigafetta's journal described the Magellan expedition's stay at the island of Zuluan. The crew interacted with the local people, exchanging gifts and establishing friendly relations, and native offered palm wine, fruit, and other goods. The island had 2 fresh water springs. The expedition also noted the presence of many trees bearing fruit and presence of white coral. The description also includes details about the physical appearance and adornments of the islander, noting their ear piercings, clothes, and the use of gold ornamentation. The expedition remained on the island for 8 days. This passage recounts a visit by Magellan's expedition to an island possibly in the Philippines. They anchored near the island and were approached by a slave who acted as an intermediary with the king. The king, initially wary, eventually met the captain and received gifts, including food, clothes, and other goods. In return, the king offered the captain various items. The captain sent his interpreter back to the king to negotiate for supplies, emphasizing his friendly intentions. The king was impressed by the artillery and other merchandise displayed by the captain. This excerpt from Pigafetta's account titled The Magellan Expedition's Experiences in the Mazoa Region, Philippines. The king was impressed by a display of the captain's armor and weaponry. The text described the local people, their costumes, including betel nut chewing, and the abundance of animals and produce on the island. The expedition stayed for 7 days before sailing another island, passing through several smaller islands along the way. They encountered a large bird, and the text notes presence of various animals and the unique way to certain birds hatch their eggs. The expedition eventually reached Zubu.
Pigafetta's account described the Magellan expedition interaction with the king of Zubut and subsequent event. The king was initially threatened by the artillery but was reassured by the captain's peaceful intention. The expedition then sailed toward the Molucco Island, passing between Siberia Island and encountering the king of Borneo, who was pursued to give up 2 pearls in exchange for the release of 500 prisoners. The expedition continued their journey, passing near other islands before reaching the island of Monorepa. The final section of Pigafetta's account covered the expedition later voyage. They visit Cavite and Sabanin, noting the abundance of cinnamon. They then sailed to Mindanao, acquiring information about the location of the Molucco Island. A violent incident is mentioned where they killed 7 people to obtain information. They continued to Four Island, encountered storm, and gave offering to the saint. By September 6, 1522, the crew was significantly reduced due to sickness, desertion, and death.
This is the concluding section of Antonio Pigafetta's account. He described presenting his written account of the voyage to King Carlos, then the traveling to the Portugal, France, finally Italy, where he settled dedicated his time to Philip de Villar-Lecidam, the Grand Master of Rhodes. The text signifies the end of his journey, his commitment to recording and sharing his experiences.